How's it going, guys? It's Byron here at Modern Muscle Extreme. Today I'm going to do a new product spotlight and kind of a product showcase on one of our more recently released products, which is our MMX Hellcat Supercharger Bypass Valve Controller. So basically what this product is a controller for the bypass valve located here in the lid of the Hellcat factory supercharger. And obviously over the past couple years, swapping this supercharger onto a 5.7, 6.1 and 6.4 powered vehicles have become hugely popular, and also doing full Hellcat engine swaps, like a complete crate engine swap into one of those vehicles, have become very popular. And one of the big hurdles that you kind of have to overcome in doing that swap is actually controlling this electronic bypass valve. So basically what we have here, we have two different variants. I'll cover the standard version first. So, and basically we have a controller here that's actually going to control this valve and make it a super easy installation for your Hellcat swap. So basically the standard version, it comes with a wiring harness here. They both use the same wiring harness. We have fully plug and play connections here. I'll cover the harness a little bit later. Basically our standard version of this controller will make your Hellcat swap vehicle drive like an OEM Hellcat car, like you bought it right off the dealership floor. When you're driving down the street and stuff, it's going to feel exactly like if you had hopped in a Hellcat car as far as boost versus pedal position and that relationship. Alright, so I want to go ahead and cover some of the features of our Plus version here. If you look with me, we're going to go ahead and put a screen clipping up of the actual dial so you can kind of see it a little bit better here. On the left side of the dial, we have 7 different positions between no boost and full boost. And basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. If you don't want your vehicle to make any boost, you put it on no boost. If you want, the maximum amount of boost that your pulley combo gives you, put it on full boost. This is a really good feature for rainy weather days. Let's say, you have your car set up and it makes 800 horsepower on full boost at full tilt. It's raining outside and you don't want to go crazy. You put the thing down on no boost so you can just basically drive it naturally aspirated, which may actually be a bit of a safety thing as well. Let's say you're at the racetrack and you're trying to, on full boost, the thing runs 10-second quarter mile, and you want to dial it back and you want to run a 1050 class, some kind of bracket or index racing. You could maybe put it on half or 3/4 and kind of play with it, make some test passes and find out how much each setting slows the car down. There's so many different ways that you could look at using that side of our dial here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hop on over to the right side of our dial here. Basically, we have a few more modes here that I kind of want to explain. So we have adaptive mode, street mode, race mode, valet mode, and then calibration mode. Basically, if you have the knob set to adaptive mode, it is going to do exactly what it says. It's going to adapt to the way that you drive your car. If we go on down to street mode, this is basically where 99% of people are probably just going to set this dial and leave it. It's what we found to be basically the most like driving a factory Hellcat car. Something I want to explain between street and race mode here, basically what this controller is doing that is different from other controllers on the market. We are actually taking the gas pedal position and we are changing the bypass valve position in a non-linear fashion, if that makes sense. In other words, 10% pedal input on your gas pedal is not 10% closure of the bypass valve. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our graph up here on the screen, and we're going to take a look at the differences between street and race mode. Basically, the difference is how much pedal input you give as far as how much you press the accelerator pedal versus how much the actual bypass valve is closing. So let's look at this graph together. You can see here in street mode, 30% pedal position. So if you have your right foot on the gas, you have it pressed 30% down, the bypass valve in the supercharger is actually going to close 35% of the way, giving you some boost. Okay, if we look at that same 30% pedal input on the race mode, that is actually going to shut the valve 50%, which is going to give you more boost and a completely different driving experience. So if we hop on down to, let's say we want to look at the 50% category, so 50% pedal input on the gas pedal in street mode actually gives you 65% closure on the bypass valve, whereas race mode, that same 50% pedal input gives you 75% closure on the bypass valve and is obviously making more boost. So these are two very, very different driving experiences between these two modes. And we found that, some customers, they just like a more aggressive driving experience. So, if you want, you're giving a lower throttle input and you want more boost to make the car feel more responsive, you may find that you like race mode better, than street mode, and that's the great thing about this controller is you can literally select it, what you want in the way that you want to drive. All right, so basically on all of these different modes, anything less than 20% throttle, there is no difference at that point. We are manipulating the bypass valve a small amount at 20% throttle, but there is no change between street and race mode at only 20% throttle, because we don't want you guys out there, you're just trying to lightly accelerate from a stoplight or something, you've got some insane amount of boost and the car's going crazy. That would kind of defeat the purpose of this. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the harness very quickly with how easy it is to install. Basically, we have a relay here, and this is going to go under the hood right near the fuse box on most of the late model cars. Basically, it's got a little hole here. You can mount it just about anywhere. We have a power wire here, and this is all labeled, by the way. It's very easy to understand. This is going to go right onto the main power lug of the TIPM on like a car or Durango or truck or anything like that. It's got a ring terminal already on it. You literally just take the nut off, drop this on, tighten it back down. We have a gas pedal tap here. This is going to go through the firewall, and then we made this super simple. That way you don't have to do any like splicing or anything like that. You can literally just unplug the connector on your gas pedal. This plugs in, and then your old gas pedal connector goes right back on here. That's done. This MMX connector here will plug into the controller somewhere inside of your car. Obviously, if you just have the standard version of the controller, it doesn't have adjustability. You could just put it, in the kick panel, under the dash somewhere, in the glove box, wherever you want. If you have the Plus version and you want to be able to, manipulate those settings, you may want to, put it in the glove box or in the little center console or mount it somewhere. We give you quite a bit of wire harness length here. That way you can put it wherever you want. This is obviously going to plug in. It looks like a throttle body connector. This is going to plug in right here to the factory Hellcat bypass valve on your supercharger. We have a chassis ground here that you can find anywhere it's convenient. Just make sure it's a good ground. Included in your kit are going to be 3 different fuse taps. Chrysler's used several different variations of fuses in different fuse boxes, whether it's a Ram or car, and depending on the year. So we give you 3 different fuse taps in your kit, and then you're going to pick the one that matches your fuses. We normally grab the ASD fuse as a good key-on power source, and then you're just going to connect this this last wire here to that, and that's basically it. It is a very, very simple installation, all plug and play. No splicing required. It's a really, cleanly loomed harness. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our video on our MMX Hellcat supercharger boost controller. Check this out on the website. We keep these things in stock all the time. Like I said, you have a Challenger, Charger, Ram truck, you got an old hot rod, you got any kind of, basically any Hemi engine. We have the adapter plates, we have the boost controller, we have anything you need to get a Hellcat supercharger onto any Hemi that you could ever imagine, and get it in your vehicle and actually make it drive like a factory Hellcat. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one.